is Cassandra Williams, aka Coach Kiss, mwah, and welcome again to another broadcast of the Kiss Corner. I missed you guys from last week. The teacher and mommy duties were yelling loud. Last Monday was the official first day back in school for everyone. So there were a lot of last minute things that I ended up having to take care of between the three munchkins that I have and just wrapping up things for myself. And I didn't want to come on and seem to be like really haphazard about it. So I was like, you know what? Let me just take a quick break and I'll come back. So I'm back. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. If this is your first time joining, again, welcome. And just let me give you a little background. The purpose of the creation of the Kiss Corner is to support or to have a safe environment for women like me who have come out of toxic relationships and are now ready to set themselves up in a way that you are able to elevate to a higher version of yourself. And so, this is a safe space in order to be able to begin that process. And so, that is the cornerstone of the Kiss Corner. If you are joining us on Facebook, again, give me those likes, those loves, those cares. I truly appreciate that. If you are joining us on YouTube, give us the share, subscribe, give us some comments, all the things, right? And greatly appreciate it. Today is the last Sunday of August. And so, for those of you who've been with me, you know, on the last Sunday or the last day of the broadcast, I typically keep it really light because the month is a little heavy, and we do a game. And so, because I was absent last week and I have some things to share that are on my heart as well, I decided today to combine it. So, we're still going to do a game at the end, but I also wanted to just address a topic that I wanted to have from last week. So, I'm just going to combine it all this week, if you will allow me to do so. Just come on and join in and let's get to it, right? So, if you haven't had an opportunity to check it out as yet, our title for tonight's broadcast is Intentions Are Liars and Actions Are Truth. And so, we have to stop waiting, start moving, because the life that we want is in our next choice. And to be perfectly transparent, I know this in many ways, and I have been very reflective, particularly of my return here in Michigan now for 2 years. That part of my journey, I see where that was definitely the motivator and where I was at that point in my life. The intentions were liars and the action was the truth. I am still dealing with some of that right now. Again, that's just being perfectly transparent. I'm not proud of saying that, but if I'm going to become before everyone, then I need to come forth in truth. And so, again, wanted to share my thoughts around it as I'm grappling with it as well. And so, like I said, I was out last Sunday, kind of running around, getting things together for that first day of school, which went very well. But today we are going to circle back a little bit on the topic that I began to address 2 weeks ago, and that was decisions versus choices. Again, this one's been sitting really deeply with me in this month in particular, because as I said, it marks my 2 year anniversary since I left New York and have returned to Michigan with my children. Well, they haven't returned, so to speak. I'm originally from Michigan, and so we've come back here with my mom as I reset and gather things for us to be able to continue to move forward. And so I arrived on August 19th. I left on August 17th, arrived on August 19th. and realized, that that is the day that would have been my paternal grandmother's 96th birthday. So that was my girl. And so it really means a lot to me when I really had the opportunity, because all of those pieces did not come to me 2 years ago as I pulled into the parking lot. I tell you, she's been gone for about 12 years now, but she was extremely, extremely influential in my life. Like I said, that was my girl. And so I don't take it lightly that my pivot to revamp and reshape the pathway of our lives began on her birthday. So, yeah, I drove here and I got behind the wheel and came from New York to Michigan because a decision had been made in my head, right? But the choice to act moved my feet, literally. And so, again, we're going to be looking at and talking about decisions versus choices, right? Intentionality versus truth. And so, yesterday, I was actually in a workshop, and they had a guest speaker come on, and it was Marcus Rozier. I believe I'm saying that correctly, which is really odd because I had inadvertently been in contact with him before. And so I've heard him speak. And as I was listening to him speaking yesterday, he said something that really grabbed me. And it further confirmed that I wanted to address this again today. And his statements were twofold, but it was combined. And it was: intention doesn't determine destination, direction does. I'm going to say that again. Intention doesn't determine destination, direction does. And so we can have all the well meaning intentions for whatever it is that we want to do, but what actually gets you going is direction. And then to follow up on that direction, he says intentions are a liar until action makes them true. Intentions are a liar until actions make them true. And so I'm going to let that sit with you for a moment as it sat with me yesterday. Intention doesn't determine destination, direction does. Intentions are a liar until actions make them true. So, like I said, you can intend to change, to heal, to build, to grow, whatever it is that you intend to do, right? But until you choose the act, that intention is just a nice thought sitting in your head. And I'm speaking to me, excuse me, in as much as I'm speaking to everyone that's watching, right? And so that's why the difference between a decision and a choice is so powerful, because a decision lives in your mind, but a choice is what moves your feet. And so I want to bring you into this moment with me. Think about this. What decision is sitting in your head that you have not yet turned into a choice? I'll repeat it. What decision is sitting in your head that you have not yet turned into a choice? And so, if you feel open and honest enough to actually share the actual decision, you can go ahead and put that in the chat on Facebook, in the comments on YouTube. If that's going too far, it's a little too personal, that's a little too much, that's cool too. Just drop the word decision, right? Drop the word decision in the chat or in the comments if you know exactly what that thing is, because we typically know what decision we want to make, right? We know it. We don't always act on it, but we're typically pretty clear about, okay, well, this is a decision that I've been toying around with. I've been thinking about a lot. It's really been weighing on my heart and in my mind, but it's been sitting just in those spots in your heart and on your mind. And so if you know that you are in that position, again, you can actually share with your what your decision is, or just go ahead and type in the word decision. Part 2. What would it look like if you actually acted on this decision? What would it look like if you actually acted on the decision? And so, you know what? Again, same deal. You could go ahead and actually put your information in the chat or in the comments. And if that's doing too much, I'm going to give everybody a heads up. Go ahead and type in, you know what would happen? Direction. Type in direction. Because remember, we have a decision, it needs direction. And then lastly, how do you see intention versus choice showing up in your own life? How do you see intention versus choice showing up in your own life? We mean well, well, we want better, we want good, better, best, right? But until we really start putting in the work to move forward, to put that thought into action, to bring it into fruition, it is simply just that. It's a thought sitting around in your mind and on your heart. And so again, you can drop in there what it your choice or choices are, or you can simply drop the word action if you're ready to turn those intentions into movement. Because that's simply all it really is the opportunity now to get beyond the thoughts. And this is where I said, I know I am speaking to myself just as well, because I can really get inside my head. I'm not sure, but I know I'm not the only one. Can overthink, overanalyze, do all the things in my mind, and it will freeze me from moving forward. And so, like I said, I'm not proud that I'm cycling through this again, but I'm willing to share that this is a part of my life that I'm in, and I'm actively now working to begin to set movements in place for other aspects of my life, because I also can't just sit in this in this 2-year change, right? It was a decision that was made. It was a choice that was made. It went beyond intentionality. It became my truth that I knew I wanted and needed better. I needed different. I needed peace. And so did my children. And so while I had made a decision about my relationship for many, many months, if not a year or so, there came a point in time where I had to just make the choice and make the move. And so I did that then. And there are, again, various other aspects in my life right now where I'm teeter tottering. I know I need to move, but I haven't done the move yet. Well, what's stopping me from doing the move? Fear. And it has to change. I have to move on faith. And I know I'm not the only person out here who understands that. But to understand it and to do it, right? Two totally different things. Again, that's my transparency with this right now. And I hope that you are gracious enough to understand that on my behalf. So I'll repeat the three questions before we make our next transition this evening because I also want to be mindful of your time. But again, I want you to consider what decision is sitting in your head that you have not yet turned into a choice? Decision. What would it look like if you actually acted on your decision? That's direction. And how do you see intention versus choice showing up in your own life? Action, decision, direction, action. Whew. So I told you I had to share. I had to share, and I haven't forgotten that this is the last Sunday. Like, wait a minute, sis, I'm still processing. Right? But it's cool. It's cool because the games we're going to do, they still fall in alignment with the decision, direction, action, right? Decisions versus choices. The fact that our intentions are liars until we put truth to it by way of action. And so I thank Mr. Rozier for that clarity. All right. Whew. So, like I said, it's the last Sunday of the month. And, I like to keep it a little lighthearted too. So, we're going to play a couple of games together this evening. And again, it's still going to be connected to tonight's theme of decisions and choices. So, our first game is going to be Would You Rather? And I'm calling it the healing edition, right? Excuse me. So I'm going to throw out a few would you rather questions and, just type in there in the chat, in the comments, which one you would rather. And I'll share mine as well. All right, I got three. Number one, in no particular order. Number one, would you rather spend a whole day journaling your feelings or talk it out with a trusted friend? Would you rather spend the whole day journaling your feelings or talk it out with a trusted friend? Now, especially because the question says whole day. Now, for me, I'd rather talk, right? I guess as evidence of me being here now, I'd rather talk to a trusted friend, and that key word trusted. I think later on I might journal something about it, but I would definitely rather talk it out with a trusted friend. So I would definitely go with that one. And again, please feel free to share in the chat or in the comments which you would rather do. Number two, would you rather forgive someone face to face or write them a letter you never send? Would you rather forgive someone face to face or write them a letter you have never seen, that you would never send? I'm sorry. Forgive someone face to face or write them a letter, but you never send it. Hmm, that's a tough one for me. Um, because it's not just getting it out, it's we're really talking about an element of forgiveness. So PJ just wrote in, that's my executive producer back there. She's sharing in her thoughts. Thank you so much, PJ. She said it depends on what they did. I'm a face-to-face person, but if it was too bad, a letter would have to do, right? And I get that. I agree with that. I think if I just had to, I would start with the letter because I think for me, the letter would help get my thoughts out to guide me then in a conversation. And so, and if it's talking about forgiveness. That's why I'm saying that means that there's some element of hurt that was in there. Um, I'm like you too, PJ. I guess depending on the level of it. I mean, I know hurt is hurt, but then there are different types, right? Things um happen. And so mm, I'm gonna say erring on the side that this was something really heavy. I'm gonna write them a letter before I would go the face-to-face route. But I definitely hear what you're saying and was thinking the same thing, but I'm trying to, I'm trying to not cheat the options. But yeah, I think I would start with a letter. Third and last, would you rather? Would you rather go to therapy or go on a weekend retreat? Would you rather go to therapy or go on a weekend retreat? I'm going to say a weekend retreat because that, in a lot of ways of itself, is therapeutic. And it's also the least of the options that I would choose. I would typically be the homebody option. Okay, let me just go see the therapist. So the idea of getting up, getting out, going away, spending some time, that would be different for me. So I'm going to go with the weekend retreat. PJ said, I would rather go on a weekend retreat. Nature helps me better than a head doctor. And I forgot PJ's a nature girl. So I knew, not that I forgot it, but I definitely knew that a weekend retreat would work better for you. And so again, please feel free, go ahead and drop it in the chat or in the comments where you are in that would you rather. All right. So, as you can see, right, even in our healing, our choices may look different, but either way, you're still choosing growth, right? Journaling or talking it out with a friend, growth. Forgiving someone face to face or writing a letter that you don't send, growth. Go to therapy or take a weekend retreat. Again, either way, growth. You have chosen some level of growth path that works for you. And so, again, those decisions and choices, they are always with us, always around us. And so now we're going to play one more game, one more. And this one is called the choice chain, right? And so we're going to try this and see how it works out. You guys let me know how you like this one. So, meet Maya. Excuse me. She's just moved to a new city for a fresh start. It's Saturday morning. She's tired, but also curious about exploring. So, choice one, does Maya A, sleep in, or B, go out and explore the city? So, you can type in the chat your choice. Does she A, sleep in, or B, go out and explore the city? So now PJ put hers in. So I'm going to go with what she's saying. And then we'll come back and explore the other end of it as well. So she is going with B, go out and explore. I knew that's what you were going to say. I didn't even have to look. All right. So she went with B. Maya is now going to go out and explore the city. Okay. So now Maya wanders through the local market. She goes out, she's exploring this new city. She wanders through the local market and meets someone who shares a powerful resource. But she also gets a text reminding her of a tough conversation she needs to have. Does she A, stay out and soak in the new adventure, or B, head home to prepare to finally have this tough conversation? Say it again. She goes out to explore. She's in her local market. She meets someone who shares a great resource with her. Same time, she's getting this text message, and it reminds her, I got this really tough conversation I need to have with sis or bro, right? Does she stay out and soak in this new adventure and kind of explore the resource and what have you? Or does she head home and prepare for this tough conversation? Which would you do? Y'all, PJ is coming in with me. I told you I'm going to cheat and go with her answer. She said, I would finish up with the resource and mentally prepare by soaking up the new adventure. That's my way to prepare for the tough conversation, right? All right. And so so she says she's going to stay out. And so if she chooses to stay out, she discovers a small bookstore, buys a book that inspires her next big idea, and feels energized, right? She like PJ said, she goes forward with exploring and the resource or what have you, and that's what she has, right? And so, had she chosen to go home, right, and had the conversation, that in and of itself may have brought her a deep peace and momentum for her next chapter. So, I'm going to go through it again. Now, I honestly, this is not PJ. I know she's going to be like, girl, you lying. I would have done it the other way around. So, I'm going to go through the story with my options because they were the exact opposite. Right? Maya moved to this city for a fresh start. It's Saturday morning. She's tired but curious. Does she sleep in? Absolutely. We gonna sleep in. We gonna binge watch. We gonna chill. Right? So she sleeps in. Right? Choice A. So then it says Maya wakes up refreshed. Later that day, her friend calls and invites her for coffee. So now she has another choice. Does she A, go and finally have a tough but healing conversation she's been avoiding with this friend? Or B, decline and keep resting and trust the timing will come later? They're like, what type of friend is this? Right? I mean, it happens, right? So, does she go ahead, go have this coffee, and then bring up this tough topic and have this tough conversation? Or does she say, you know what? Another issue for another day. I am just going to continue chilling. I'm going to decline the offer to go out and I'm just going to rest and stay to myself. So, with that, I'm going to say she's going to rest. I am going the path of least resistance today. She's going to rest. And so, again, if she has the conversation, perhaps she does feel lighter, just like I said before, more confident and builds a stronger friendship. And then you're like, yeah, sis, it could go the other way around too. And that friendship thing could be a little, and now you got all this drama when you was trying to have a peaceful day. I'm just saying. So that's why I said let it rest. So if she chooses rest, she realized she's been avoiding it for too long. So perhaps then she journals her feelings instead, still gives her clarity and courage for when the moment does come. Right. And so, absolutely, PJ says self care is self love and it is not selfish. Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so that's why I said I would have just let it ride and just focus on me for that day. And again, we went back into that journaling piece, the writing piece. Perhaps I'll write it, it'll give me clarity for when the time does come, perhaps for that conversation. Or does it just give me peace of mind to get my feelings out one way or the other? Either way, we're looking at what our intentions are that begins to go headway into our decisions, the direction we're choosing to go in, and then making that choice, the action of being able to say, okay, this is what I've chosen to do. And there it is. And so here's the beauty, right? Again, whether Maya chooses rest, adventure, conversation, or even journaling, she was still moving forward in her healing journey and whatever that looked like and felt like for her. So some choices recharge us, others stretch us, and both are powerful. Both are extremely powerful and both are necessary. We have to be recharged and we have to be stretched. The win isn't in making the perfect choice because there is no perfect, but it's in knowing that you always have a choice, no matter what we do, even in doing nothing. That's a choice. And so before we wrap up, I want to invite you to partner with me and PJ through Empowered Voices Finding Strength in Survivors. Your sponsorship is not just support, it is a lifeline. And together we are amplifying voices that have been silenced for too long, creating community, healing, and hope. And so, if you are watching live or if you're watching in replay, you should see the link scrolling across the screen on YouTube. And if you're catching us on Facebook, the link is also right there in the comments. And I'd love for you to join this mission to be a part of the change, be a part of the change that you want to see. So, as we prepare to head into a brand new month tomorrow, let this stay with you. Decisions may sit in your head, intentions may live in your heart, but it's your choices, the direction you take, and the actions you commit to that move your feet. Be well as you continue to elevate along your healing journey. My name is Cassandra Williams, aka Coach Kiss. Mwah. You have been here with me again on the Kiss Corner. I will see you again next week, same back time, same back station. And let's check in once more as we move forward. It's a choice.